Alright, hello citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel here once again, and this is going to be another wrestling review. So, of course we are continuing our Survivor Series reviews, and this one is the other women's match I picked out. Out, out this match, admittedly, right off the bat, nothing too special, but it was better compared to the other stuff on the night. I'm talking about Survivor Series 2015, Charlotte defending her WWE's championship against Paige. Not Charlotte Flair, just Charlotte. This is before they add the Flair to her name. But as always, I'm not professional wrestling reviewer or analyst, just a man who enjoys a good time. Which I had an okay time with this match. Like I mentioned in Survivor Series 2015, not a fondly, not a well liked show. Some stuff that went right, some stuff not as much. But how did this match fare? Let's find out. So, if you've seen these reviews of mine before, you kind of already know how this works. If you haven't, I'm going to be talking about what I liked and what I disliked about the match. Starting with what I liked, I think Charlotte and Paige did okay for the most part. Some moments that did look a little clunky, which I guess is one of the things I disliked about the match. But otherwise, I think they did okay against each other. Both able to go in the ring, especially Charlotte Flair. She's being built up. This is a while ago. This is when Charlotte Flair was really first bursting onto the main roster before she really got pushed to the moon. She would be pushed to the moon by next year's time in the company, but. This was in the midst of the Women's Revolution time. Yes, that time period in WWE where WWE almost disregarded AJ Lee and Paige, or disregarded Trish Stratus and Lita, at least for the time being, saying, "Oh, those weren't the revolution. Here's your real revolution." That being when, and it was three major entities, three major teams within the Women's Revolution. You had Team Bellas, which was the Bella Twins, Nikki and Brie, as well as Alicia Fox. Then there was Team PCB, that being Paige, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch. And then you had Team Bad, that being Sasha Banks, Naomi, and Tamina. But Nigel, you may be asking, you just said that there was Team PCB, Paige, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch. And how are Charlotte and Becky fighting? I'm glad I asked, because this is when they broke up as a team. This is after the team crumbled, the team imploded. Paige turned on Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch and broke up Team PCB, which was the feud heading into this match. Match is Paige and Charlotte Flair here. So. They had broken up in storyline, and so now they're facing here. Team PCB is no more, and eventually Charlotte and Becky Lynch would also split as a team, but we'll get to that. They're feuding here, they're battling here, and it's one of those things where the feud was better than the match. If I remember correctly, the feud actually wasn't bad between the two. It did have that one remark by Paige concerning Charlotte's brother Reed and his passing not too long before she made that comment. If you've seen the feud, you probably know exactly what comment I'm talking about. If you haven't, and you're like, Nigel, what comment are you talking about? It's look it up, because it is pretty bring in real life stuff, I think, into pro wrestling, into a feud and stuff, I think is okay when it totally doesn't make things super uncomfortable. And that's exactly what Paige's comment about Charlotte's brother Reed did, and not looked fondly upon, but they did reference it on commentary. They didn't say exactly what the quote was, but they said that it inflamed Charlotte and really stoked the fires of the feud. So the feud going into this had at least that going for it, even if it was fairly uncomfortable. And it resulted in this match, and it carried over into the match. And like I mentioned, this is one of the better matches on the card, if I remember correctly. If I remember correctly, Survivor Series 2015 wasn't really that great. At least I think so. It had been a while. Well, I think since I've seen the show, but one of the kind of better matches on the card, but not great, unfortunately. Because getting into what I disliked, like I mentioned, some of the moments did look a little clunky. Plus, not as much heat to it. Like, with the heat of, that stuff going on, and the heat of the feud leading into it, they tried to put over on commentary how this is a blood feud, and this is a hard-hitting feud, and that there's so much personal animosity and stuff in the feud, but what we saw in the ring kind of betrayed it a little bit. There were some moments where they really, went after each other, but otherwise, a lot of it was fairly standard and fairly tame. Sometimes I'm having stuff that's fairly tame. There's nothing really wrong with that. And it won't stand out as much, but there's nothing really wrong with that. But that's not what we're sold on. We were sold on much higher stakes, I feel like. The stakes going into it kind of betrays the match, if that makes any sense. With the amount of stakes and the personal animosity that they try to put over on commentary, you would think, oh yeah, this is going to be a hard-hitting battle. They're going to beat the crap out of each other. They're going to absolutely go to war. But sadly, we didn't really get that. And the crowd definitely didn't really get that. And they did pop a couple times, but otherwise, nothing really too crazy. They sadly weren't into it. It might have been and due to the rest of the card, but the crowd sadly wasn't really into it. But they tried. Like I said, the action in the match was fine, I guess, but not quite what we were sold upon. Here, let me give an example. Well, I reviewed WrestleMania 13, and I reviewed not all of WrestleMania 13, but Bret Hart versus Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13 back in, I believe, March. As part of my WrestleMania review. So if you haven't already, go check out that review. Now imagine, because Bret Hart and Steve Austin had been feuding for a while, and they've been, especially with them kind of leading into that double turn of Bret slowly transitioning into a heel, and Stone Cold Steve Austin kind of becoming more of a face, or at the very least an anti-hero. Now imagine if that feud carried into WrestleMania, and the match was heatless. Like they didn't take each other to task. Or imagine it at Royal Rumble 99, which I also reviewed earlier in the year, between The Rock and Mankind. If the feud between them and it was so personal and you were sold on this knockdown drag out fight, but instead you didn't really get that paid off. I feel like that's kind of what happened here. They tried to put over the feud. They tried to put over, oh, this is personal. Charlotte Flair and Charlotte and Paige are really going to war with each other. And they definitely tried, especially Michael Cole. JBL and Jerry Lawler also tried to an extent, but especially Michael Cole trying to put over trying to put over the animosity, but that didn't really translate as well as it could have and or should have. As a match, it's okay, it's fine. It's not the worst thing I've seen, but not the best thing I've seen either. But I feel like they could have turned it into overdrive a lot more. Or if this was maybe a no holds barred match, or maybe even maybe a submissions match, I think it probably would have paid off a bit more. We did have some moments of it, such as when Charlotte had Paige in the figure four. Not quite the figure eight. Although the figure eight is how Charlotte won the match. But when she had her in the figure four and they were really struggling and did the double rollover, I think that partially contributed to it, and them trying to fight each other and scramble in it. I think there's that, but otherwise, yeah, not really. a whole lot in that department, and it's disappointing. I feel like if we got a little bit more of that, the match definitely would have lived up a little bit more to the hype. Like, maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm alone on that. Let me know. But yeah. Yeah, so it was also kind of passing of the torch because Charlotte is starting to become more and more of a star, and really he and Becky Lynch to an extent, although especially Charlotte, you can tell definitely hitching the wagon to her as a star in the future, which she definitely would become, especially in the year afterwards. And really, he not quite hitting her stride just yet, and she would do that once she turned heel. Even though, say what you want about how 2016 panned out with her and Sasha Banks and the whole hot potato between the Raw Women's Championship, but her being built up as a major star, they definitely wanted. You could tell they definitely wanted to do that here. Especially her as Divas champion, really wanting to build Charlotte as that next big star in the women's division, and whether people really liked it or not, but really build her up. And I think this match, I would say, accomplished that to an extent, and but she would really hit her stride once she turned heel, and once a lot more of the focus came on her. And I've always maintained Charlotte definitely has that star persona about her, especially considering who her dad is. But I think the main thing was her booking, her constantly being in the main event, her constantly being like the focus instead of sharing the spotlight, having the whole spotlight on her for a while, and people did kind of get sick of it. But that's a discussion for another time. As for this match, it was, and I maintain it was okay, but could have been better. But nevertheless, that's going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video, so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the match and my review. Did you like the match? Did you like my review of the match? Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.